What is up, DTube, Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk about a very interesting topic, which is majority of Instagram adult content now. So Instagram started 2010, and I think around 2015, 2016 was when it started to shift a bit more, where people start to this influencer trend really started then, especially with photos. Before, between 2010 and 2015, it was it wasn't really a big thing, I would say. And I think this is very like a very interesting topic because um, how to say this? Well, it's very interesting now when more people are using the internet. I think people using like 30% of people's life, they are hanging on internet, so they're using these platforms a lot, which means eventually they probably want something that sort of resembles sort of their real life. And what that would be in the digital sphere would be proof of brain. For example, Steam blockchain, that you have tokenized systems and you have real value, and people have to consider a little bit about what they're doing. And with that proof of brain, when people vote, when they have real value, it's as if they are acting a little bit more like mature adults, and considering their group of maybe 10 other people, and it resembles a little bit more real life, I would say, proof of brain. So the only platform at the moment that's doing it nice with a blockchain and a token is Steam blockchain, from what I can see, proof of brain. While if we take Instagram for an example, it does not have proof of brain at the moment. It is catering to the, what do they say, the lowest common denominator. So I mean, this is a very interesting topic. So uh, one thing I don't believe is, I don't believe that if we look at tokenized systems, I think that people that go to them, they go to them because they really want the proof of brain stuff. So the stuff that works on Instagram, I don't think, like, it's interesting because there are some that think that, oh, that may work great in also just porting it over to tokenized solutions, and kind of and if you use yeah, if we, yeah, I think that people are looking at this as, oh, okay, this is getting a lot of likes on Instagram. If we use port that, copy paste it to proof of brain, then that would sort of work. But I'm not really sure if that actually would work, because I feel that there is a way different group of people that is using proof of brain, like token based systems, and that they are sort of wanting these more kind of professional systems, so they can sort of, just because they're spending 30% of their life on the internet, they are sort of looking at stuff from a very long term perspective, 10, 20, 30 years in the future. And if you're looking at it from those like time frames, okay, so we need to build something that has like 30 years into the future, something that can scale, and something that's not going to crash easily. It does seem like, well, would adult content scale well in that? Like, if we really like extract it on a long-term scale, I don't really think it would work that well. So I mean, people sort of experiment, and what I mean with adult content is when people are mainly focusing on biology, when they're sort of doing whatever now they're doing. um and I'm not really sure if that would work that great in token based systems, because what I'm seeing is, I mean, in the proof of brain systems, people don't really want any nonsense. Like, they want a really, really professional environment where people are kind of interacting adult to adult, and where there's like a deeper layer of respect, and everyone is trying to look at it from 10, 20, or 30 years in the future. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting. So, I'm not really sure if majority of Instagram is adult content, but from what I'm looking at it, it does seem like maybe 20%, 30% of it is it. And it's like, I mean, I do wonder, like, is it really something that can, like, I wonder because it's like, if it already is like a big section, can it grow? Can it scale? And it's like, is it like a long-term effect? Can Instagram sort of make a real lasting business on it where eventually the users earn and not just like a tiny group of elite? It's kind of fascinating, right? Uh so it's like, so even if there just is like a small amount of it that is it on Instagram, I still sort of wonder, like, can this, I'm kind of curious, like, well, can this be like, I'm not really sure if, like, if people had something better, like, first of all, I don't think most people are, or most people are not aware that there are like way better systems now where people just can be professional. So I think it's like Instagram is like all they know. So, but if they get like a better systems and they have like the best smartphone, they are on like a blockchain system and they already have value. So they start from basically abundance. I think the majority of people then eventually just gonna go more into a sort of professional direction because they're gonna have more incentive to empower people in a way where people are becoming adults, and if everyone basically have tokens and they're looking at it from the long-term perspective where they're not just seeing, for example, people that are consuming stuff, they're not just seeing them as worthless consumers, but they're seeing the long tail aspect of it where, oh, so let's say, let's take an Instagram influencer. uh, if that person is like seeing the benefits of professional people and like people really becoming adults and people really, creating real networks, then it would make, it becomes quite sensible to like it, looking at stuff from a long-term perspective of like 10, 20, or 30 years in the future, and really trying to see, okay, if this person actually becomes an adult, and then they have this like real support network, and without any nonsense, and that it can like scale. And if people really can see that the value is there and is worth it, then it does seem like most people would go professional. So it's like, it's very interesting because, well, Instagram right now, it cannot go to proof of brain. It's like you can't port it because it's not on that technology. The mindset is not there. And it's also very interesting with, for example, Twitter, where it's also this mix where, well, Twitter can't also, they can't like move to like proof of brain system. So on Twitter, for example, I see that half is like trying to be super silly all the time, and then I see that the other the other half, they want to be very professional, and they really want to build like an amazing world. And it seems like the 50%, they are sort of going to move to some kind of amazing tokenized blockchain, professional reputation based systems eventually, while the others may just hang around on these older systems. I'm not really sure, but it is kind of fascinating to consider because, I mean, can anyone really see, like, if it just becomes more adult content on, for example, Instagram, I don't really see it have any future. Like, I don't see how it can have like any sort of lasting future because, I mean, if you just for example, try to like skip the human being, and if you just want to do like, let's say, biology stuff, just focus on human biology, it's like eventually we can just have an artificial intelligence that can do that instead. So we already have it, like you can like auto generate human faces and like auto generate a lot of stuff, and then it's like, well, it's gonna mean nothing eventually. Like, so it's really really fascinating to kind of consider that. So I mean, just because most people are gonna look at what kind of, they want to dive deeper into what kind of human being you are, so a lot of this easier sort of surface layer stuff, it sort of seems like artificial intelligence is just gonna take over that. So Twitter and Instagram and a lot of other systems, yeah, I don't really see them have a future in the long run, because people that want to be professional, they're gonna move to more professional solutions where everything is just better, and they're like, there's like no nonsense, and people like actually empower each other. People have like super inclusive mindsets. I mean, that's actually what sort of people want. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of interesting to sort of see, and it saves time and energy if people know instantly, oh, here we have the proof of brain people, they're working daily, and and everyone is on the same network, so everyone wins. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today, the long-term aspect. I mean, that is the most interesting thing that's going to make proof of brain win, because it's scalable in the long run. Yeah, have a great day.